Welcome to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit.
Oh, well, he's very popular.
And today it's Macro Monday,
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
where we show you the big picture and how you can take advantage of it.
Show me the money!
And now, the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit on ESPN Radio 1700.
It is that time again. Happy Monday to you. And it is Macro Monday on the Mr. Credit Show. It's JJ in the hot seat today, Synergy One Lending. And I'm going to throw this out right now. If you have a question for myself or our fantastic guest studio today, just go to askjjnow.com. You can call me, obviously not on air. I'm not going to answer the phone while we're here. But give me a call, send me a text, or shoot an email over, and I will do my best to get those questions answered for you. Because I know we're going to drive some questions today with our in-panel studio. We have an amazing topic we're talking about today. But I'm going to leave that for just a second longer. Let's do a quick market update. Green all across the board today. You know, it's amazing. We were up over 17,000. Kind of came crashing down on the Dow, 16.5, and now we're trekking slowly back up. NASDAQ's up, S&P is up, and the bond market's selling off a little bit. So Friday, for those of you who are shopping those interest rates, buying a house, refinancing, Friday was one of those days where, you know, you saw if you're a market watcher. If you're a market watcher and you think you know what you're doing with the interest rates, you're watching the bond market, you're maybe watching mortgage-backed securities if you have the access to that stuff, and you're like, oh man, interest rates are going down. Russia bombed, sent out some bombs. World catastrophe once again. Here we go. Those world calamities do happen, and they typically do affect interest rates in a positive fashion. But here's the thing, that was Friday. And Fridays, it's one of those things that just banks don't want to give everything to you on a Friday going into the weekend, because you know what? Lots of stuff goes on Saturday and Sunday, and the markets aren't open. And sure enough, the bond market's selling off today. So you may have seen a slight gain for the better on Friday. And you probably lost that already today if you didn't lock it in on Friday because you got greedy. So don't be greedy. It's always my point here. Interest rates are phenomenal. If you are entering escrow, you're looking to refinance, just pull the trigger with the rate that is on that day. There's always reports that are coming out. There's always more news that will come out that can adversely affect it or positively affect it. But the chances of the positive are far greater than rates going up, especially at the levels they are right now. So take advantage of it and be done with it. In panel studio today, we have two local realtors, and they're going to be talking about a program. And I'm going to grill them on this program because it's awesome and everybody needs to know about it. But Blake Marchand. Marchand?
Yep.
Marchand?
Yeah, Marchand.
Marchand. All right. Is that French?
Yes, it is.
It is French. All right. See, I always get the French names wrong because you just never know what to do with them. Blake, thank you. You're RE/MAX Pacific right here in San Diego. Appreciate you taking time out of this Monday to join us here in the studio.
Yes, thank you.
And Dan Cassidy. How you doing?
Great. Thank you for having us.
Good. Hey, I'm excited to have you guys in the studio because, we talk about real estate a lot on this program. It's one of the things. It's a hot topic. It has been for many years as we've gone through the upper swings and the lows of the lows. And just like the stock market, we've slowly been trekking our way out of the doldrums of the real estate market to new highs. But, a lot of times we talk about the same stuff. And you guys have a program that you offer that's quite unique. So we will get to that. Just good to have you guys in here. I don't know if you saw this, but this was a funny story. And so, we all use the internet. And those of you that are shopping for homes out there, or interest rates or whatever the case may be, shoes, these all drive us crazy. And they're pop-up ads, right? The pop-up ad. Well, this is a funny story on CNN.com. They're the one of the creators of the pop-up ad is sorry that he created them. He's sorry. He says sorry. Ethan Zuckerman, he worked, I mean, we're going back to the 90s here. And, you know, it's funny, you think the pop-up ads started in this time. It's not that long ago. They seem like they've been around forever, but I guess the web really hasn't been around for all that long. He was working for a company called Tripod.com, and it was struggling to make a revenue source. And they worked creating worked the code to create the pop-up ad because certain companies didn't want the banner ads associated with the websites that they were popping up on. Let's say, you know, a car maker or something like that, landed on their banner ad landed on a page with possibly like a XXX page. And, Chevy didn't want their ad to be associated with that. So here comes the pop-up. They don't, it's separated. It's not on that page. It's not associated with the company. And Zuckerman said, hey, I'm sorry, our intentions were good, as we're all still dealing with them. And as those pop-up ads throw those viruses into your computer and you can't get rid of them. It's funny, I go back to the East Coast in the summer times and in the winter time, and my in-laws back there, not the most technical. They're not. They're just rightfully so, they're not. And my mother-in-law's old computer, she would have 50 web pages open at a time. She just kept opening new web pages, and every web page would have pop-up ads galore. I mean, you couldn't shut the thing down. And we had to get rid of the computer. I mean, I'm not a tech guy, but we had to get rid of the computer. Went with an Apple product, and I still go back there, log on just to see what's going on, and she'll have 25, 30 screens opened up. I just don't understand why you don't close it down. And Kay, I love you, but you got to learn how to shut the last page down before you open a new one. So here's another interesting story, and I just don't know, guys, if this is a good thing or a bad thing. So there was a story that, and you hear this out there, but banks are lending. They're lending at feverish paces out there. And, so some would say it's a sign of the confidence in the economy, right? The banks are giving the money out there. But I don't know if this is necessarily a good thing, because what's happening is they're lending in some different areas. Obviously, the mortgage spectrum is lending, but they're also lending in the credit field, right? So credit card spending is up, car loans are up. And although this is all good stuff, I just don't know if it is good, because if you recall, in the last sort of housing bust, people were spending a lot of money. They were out there buying a lot of cars, doing a lot of home improvement and stuff like that, which is fine. That's good. That's what we all need. But it kind of all exploded on us. So Dan, I want to get your opinion. I mean, when you hear things like this, that banks are they're spending, and by all means, I want you to know, tied to this, the lending, the bank's profits are out of this roof. Billions of dollars every quarter. So, I mean, you're out there on the street, doing the real estate thing, helping people buy, sell homes. I mean, is this a good thing when you hear this? I mean, is this a sign for you that the economy is kind of turned and we're heading in the right direction?
I think so. I'm sure it obviously stimulates the economy, people spending money. As long as rates stay low and make it affordable for people to get into that car, or, home, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I see it as a good thing, yeah.
You see it as strong. What about you, Blake?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing as well. You are seeing it is a little tougher to get loans these days. So the debt-to-income ratios are really a tight thing for borrowers when they're out there looking to see what they qualify for. So when it is giving them a loan for whether it be a house or a car, that does affect their purchase value when they are looking to buy a home. So you just want to make sure, if you are interested in looking to buy a home, that you just don't go buy a car, a couple weeks before, a month before, because that is going to impact your debt-to-income ratio, and then you're not going to be able to get that house that you really wanted if you went and got like a higher car payment or lease payment.
And I'll tell you, you'd be surprised how often that happens, Blake. I mean, it is amazing. You could have the talk. So I'll go into my soapbox for a moment here. If you are buying a home, or if you're refinancing home, if you've gotten pre-approved, it's very, very important that you don't change anything in your credit profile, right? If your car is dusty and old and it's paid off and you just want a new one because they're rolling out a good lease special or something like that, talk to whoever you're talking to about it. Whoever you got pre-approved, make sure that you have room to absorb this new payment that you're going to take on. Or if the payment that you have, you're selling a car and the new car payment's going to be higher, you really have to check on this. If you're going to co-sign for something, and I'll just tell you, do not co-sign. I don't care if it's your son, daughter. Try to stay away from it. It doesn't work out well typically down the road to co-sign. I know sometimes you feel like you're obligated to do it, but find a different path because it will sometimes come back to haunt you, especially when you think that person's making the payment and they're not. Very important. That's a great point, Blake, of doing that. I just don't know. I mean, I think we have to be careful when we're taking on debt. And if you're spending, you got to buy a new car, I get it. You got to buy a new car. It's just, it is what it is. New cars are probably cheaper to operate and maintain than your old one. Maybe you're getting better fuel efficiency or something like that. But just make sure you can afford it. Make sure you have the reserves in the bank after it's done. The thing that worries me is the credit card debt. And I don't like seeing those numbers going up because it seemed like we got a nice little pay down for a while. People weren't using the credit cards because kind of a lot of people got shut up. The bank shut them off. Can't use it. I mean, you know what? You did something bad maybe with your home, or it was just a sign of the times where they just, cut people's limits so they couldn't spend. So just be careful. Be careful with the 0% deals that you get out there and know what you have to do to not absorb the interest. So, I'm glad to have you both in here because you're both in the real estate field. This is one that's just interesting to me. We're going to fly through this pretty fast, but there are some myths about buying a home, and I want to dispel those myths if they're true or not very quickly. Buying a home is a great investment. This is number one. And in this article, they're saying that it's not a great investment, mainly because of the last 10 years. Blake, I'm going to go to you on this one. What do you think?
I think that's false. I think it is a great investment, not only for tax purposes, but to have a house, to have a value, to have a property that you can hold on to for a lifetime, get rental income on. There's all different ways, all different avenues that you can generate income off of buying a home and holding on to it for a future retirement. So I definitely disagree with that comment.
And I do too. I'm in full agreement with you, Blake. It is a good investment. And remember, if you're buying a home just for renting it, or if you're looking at a short-term purchase, you got to lay out the numbers and make sure that it makes sense. If you're planning on maybe selling that home in 6 months, maybe it's not a good investment at that point in time. But typically, you're living in the home. You're planning on keeping it for a time frame. There should be appreciation, but just like a stock, you never know what's going to happen down the road. So be leery of that. But totally agree. That myth I had to bust right out of the gate here. When we come back, Blake and Dan, RE/MAX Pacific, they have a program that we're going to be talking about. It's called the 30-30-30, and we'll explain when we come back from the break. It's your lunch hour, 1700 ESPN.
If you would like free advice from Mr. Credit, just call or text 619-786-7853. That's 619-786-7853.
Welcome back. It is Macro Monday. It's JJ, Synergy One Lending, in the hot seat today. Have a couple great guests. Blake Marchand, Dan Cassidy, RE/MAX Pacific, right here in San Diego. And we are going to jump right into this because I'm excited to talk about it. It's something that it's fresh for me. It's new. Haven't heard of it. It sounds like I've heard of other things out there like this. But Dan, I'm going to go to you first here. You guys offer something, and it's newer for you guys too. I mean, it hasn't been around that long, but it's called the 30-30-30 renovation plan. And I like the 30-30-30 name because it's easy to remember. But what does it stand for?
Well, basically, we anticipate about a 30-day renovation time, 30 days on the market, and on average about $30,000 more net after selling the home for the homeowner.
Okay. So this is a renovation plan.
Yeah.
Let's get that straight right out of the gate. Okay. So Blake, I mean, what do you know, when you're talking renovation, I mean, let's talk about that. What are we doing?
All right. Well, it all depends on the home. For instance, we just did a home up in Escondido for a client, and it was a very nice home. Just the interior of the home was just rather dated. So basically, we updated the kitchen, updated both bathrooms, all new flooring throughout the house, repainted the exterior of the home, and then just got the landscaping up to speed. So that was a fairly decent, easy remodel, but there's been times where we've had to do room additions, bathroom additions to get that extra value for the client. And those can take a little longer than 30 days, but we try to stick to the timelines to make sure that client is, get their money back in 30 days. And even if they have a different listing agent that really wants that property and it's on the market today and they're getting lowball and offers from investors, we still come in, we're teaming up with the homeowner. That listing agent is still there. They can still be in charge of the deal, be in charge of their client, and we're just more of a partner with the homeowner on this plan.
Okay, so that actually is that's a good point you bring up, because so I mean somebody that's listening right now, they've had their home on the market for 6 months. It's a little bit older. They don't have the money to do the fix up. Dan, they can go in, they can hire you guys, and you guys can team up with the actual homeowner.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
It's not, the average person necessarily doesn't have, $25,000, $35,000 to dish out, upgrade their home. Not only that, do they know what to fix and what to update and what not to update?
Right.
They could be throwing good money at bad and not get the return that, we're specialized in with our experience, basically.
Okay, let's talk about the experience a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, you're in the real estate business now, you're a realtor, but what's your past, that brings this sort of experience that you've been through? I mean, you've renovated homes in the past.
Yeah. So basically my history is I was in construction for about 12 to 14 years. And between 2008 2010, I took part in a little over 100 flips.
Wow.
On the construction side. And after that, I kind of, figured I got my feet wet and wanted to get on the other side of the fence in the real estate side, and made that transition. So the past few years have been on the other side. But,
Okay.
I took part in all those and saw what it took to get the project done, what it took to get it sold as quick as possible and for the highest amount.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of transactions. I mean, you're talking a couple-year period. I mean, 4 or 5 transactions a month that are being kind of completed,
Yeah.
Turned over. So that's amazing. I mean, it's amazing that we had that many flips out there.
Yeah.
We had that many flips. Blake, what about you? What's your background that took you to this point of this particular project?
I'd say a couple years ago, I was actually working for a REO agent. Had the Freddie Mac account, and I was introduced to hundreds of investors at this time, calling me to represent them on these properties. And about a year or two later, I started, got enough capital through investors and started teaming up and doing my own flips. So we started doing about, I'd say, 5 to 10 last year. We have probably closed another 10 this year, and we have 3 or 4 that are under construction. So besides this 30-30-30 plan, we do have our own projects going on. Just the deals are, as everybody knows, the market's slimmed up. The REOs have slowed down. The short sales have slowed down. So those deals have kind of slid away. So you're seeing a lot of investors leaving San Diego. But with this plan, I think it's great because we're teaming up with the homeowner. They're not having to pay for anything, and they're getting the value as if they flipped their own home.
Okay, so you made a very good comment there. The homeowner's not paying for anything.
Yep.
Let's talk about that. I mean, who's kind of backing this renovation project? Blake?
So basically, Dan and I personally back it. This way, when we do go in and we talk with the homeowner, we're letting them know, hey, this is a team, it's a partnership. We are not charging you $1 more for what the construction costs are. You're going to see the invoices. You're going to meet the contractor. You're going to walk the home with us. You're going to be able to have your opinion of what you feel should be done to the home, and we'll let you know. We'll show you the comparables in the area, showing you these homes are selling as is for this price. And if you let us do X, we'll show you what the exit value is. And with us putting our own money on the line, we are telling you that we're not guaranteeing this value, but we are pretty confident that we're going to go ahead and put our money on the line to get you that extra value for you.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's Blake Marchand, Remax Pacific Realty, and he's in with his partner Dan Cassidy. And if you have any questions for them, just go to askjjnow.com, send me an email, give me a phone call, shoot me a text. I will put you in touch with these guys because I know there's a lot of people out there that can really benefit from this. So one thing that, Dan, I'll ask you this. I mean, so I'm a homeowner. I need $30,000 worth of, I'm going to change that because it's all 30s here. I need $25,000 in improvement. You guys are paying for that. I mean, there's really no money out of my pocket here as far as cash.
Zero.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So you guys believe 100%, not even 100%, 110% that you know what you're doing and you're going to get the return on investment here. I mean, it's just hands down.
Yeah. There is other programs out there that, that kind of offer similar services. But what they do is they just charge extra on the construction side. So that way the homeowner is paying for the construction. That company has already made their money before the property's gone on the market. Yeah, they'll tell you what they believe the home's going to sell for, but their money is not on the line, whereas ours is. So we want to make sure that, we're not pushing the limits on the exit side. We want it to sell in 30 days or less for you. We don't want any delays for your agent if you do have another agent that's involved. But, that's with us being realtors as well. We have that experience and we have that knowledge of what homes are selling for. So we're not going to just come in and put $30,000 on a home that's not going to sell and get you that extra value. We want to make sure that what our money is going in on and teaming up with you, we're going to get you that value that we're trying to get at.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a good point. I mean, and what Blake was saying is, I mean, there are companies out there that and there's some big name company out there, that kind of rolls the renovation side of this sort of transaction. And what you need to understand is what they're doing is they're charging you for the construction. I mean, they set up the construction avenue, but they're making money on that, and they're getting paid up front. So your home sells, your home doesn't sell, it's okay because they've already been paid. You guys, you're not collecting money up front. You're not making the homeowner pay. It's a huge difference, and it's definitely the game changer, I think, between the different programs out there. That's why I like this so much. It's the 30-30-30 plan, renovation plan. Got to throw the renovation plan. And if you want to learn more about it, Blake, can I give your number out here?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I'll give you Blake's number. You can text him. You can give me a call. Give him a call. 619-890-4588. 619-890-4588. So one thing, I mean, not everybody, this is, if my house is in decent shape, you come in, it's just not selling. I mean, what is it? A bathroom sometimes that could make the difference? I mean, where's the break point of a home needing this or not needing, or is it working or not going to work for a house? Dan,
that's a great question. It may not be a perfect fit for every home out there. Typically, what we're seeing is outdated homes, and sometimes we can go in and just evaluate, and if there is maybe it's a little less, maybe it's 15 or 20,000 of renovations that need to be fixed up, or just a kitchen, flooring, we can assess that, but pretty much it works on the majority of the homes that are not brand new, don't have the granite, don't have the hardwood floors throughout. Obviously, there are certain ones that don't fit the criteria, but and maybe the numbers are just minimalized when you do get the slightly outdated homes.
Yeah. Blake?
I think just from the experience of helping buyers find homes, when you show homes, kitchens are huge.
Yeah.
The wives, the women in the family love a nice kitchen. So we, first thing we tend to do is try to open up the kitchens if we can. A lot of the older homes are really closed, confined. So if it's just knocking down one wall to make it open to the living room, that's huge. We try to make the kitchen pop as we can. Bathrooms are always a plus. There's great new products out there. flooring, like Dan mentioned. Like the house in Escondido had green carpet.
Well, I'll tell you one thing too. What's cool with that house that I saw is in the kitchen. I mean, you took a very outdated kitchen, but in a low ceiling with kind of the light panel in there, but you kind of took the roof line or the interior ceiling line at an angle, which was very cool. Probably opened up the whole feel of that kitchen, along with redoing that kitchen. So, and if you want to see a result of something, we can provide that to you as well. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about this 30-30-30 renovation plan because, I mean, let's face it, your house maybe was built in 1978 like mine is, and it could use some love before you put it on the market. So make sure you're making the right move before you do that listing. It's your lunch hour, 1700 ESPN.
If you would like free advice from Mr. Credit, just call or text 619-786-7853. That's 619-786-7853.
Welcome back. It is Macro Monday on the Mr. Credit Show. It's JJ, John Giroux, Synergy One Lending in the hot seat today. If you have any questions, we were talking about the 30-30-30 renovation plan today with Blake Marchand and Dan Cassidy with RE/MAX Pacific right here in San Diego. And I have a question for you guys. I mean, obviously RE/MAX, as far as a brand, it's a big real estate brand. And they are supporting you and behind this renovation program.
Yeah, well, basically, I'm one of the operating owners of the Mission Valley branch, which is RE/MAX Pacific. So basically, me and a couple of my other partners in that office, we were all doing renovations in the last year or two. So we all are behind the program. We all know how to insure the properties properly. Record deed of trust on the properties to ensure our value is safe. So yeah, and definitely when it comes to selling the property, you actually have a brand, behind you. Yeah. So we're, and we do get people calling us just because we're RE/MAX to help them sell their home. So
definitely,
it definitely
national brand.
Yep.
So let's walk through this. I mean, for those who are just kind of stepping into to listening right now, walk me through kind of from start to finish, Dan, if you will, just the 30-30-30 program.
Okay.
I mean, what is a homeowner to expect?
So basically, when we first meet the homeowner, we're going to give them, an as-is value of the home. And then we'll walk through and get an idea of what it's going to take as far as renovation cost. We'll add that onto the as-is value, and everything's agreed upon, seller and us. So anything over that mark is basically extra profit for the homeowner. And like the program is, 30-30-30, it's an average of $30,000 extra for the homeowner, going above and beyond that as-is price.
Okay. That's amazing. I mean, so the as-is price, I mean, that's where you're sitting down. If you were to say, hey, Mr. Homeowner, if we were going to list your house today, we would list it for $350,000. But after the renovations, it's going to cost $30,000, takes us to $380,000. And whatever the markup is from there, because you can get more because of the renovation.
Exactly.
That's where you're taking it. And then let's say, I mean, how do people need to move out of the home, Blake? Do people stay in the house while you're doing it? What's the best way to kind of do this?
It all depends on the condition of the home and what upgrades we are doing. But it definitely makes it easier if they are out of the property.
Okay.
For instance, our client was actually moving into an assisted living facility. So at that time, he was moved out, and we went in and did the whole house in 30 days, which is the number of days that we like to stick to. If they are living there, it could slow the process down a little bit. So, if they can go live, with a family friend while they're looking to purchase another home or rent, et cetera. And we can definitely help them with that process of finding another place as well throughout that.
Okay. And you mentioned, so this was an older and more of a senior homeowner that you were moving out. You guys have experience in that arena, right?
Yeah, I'm actually a senior specialist, certified. So we do help all the assisted living facilities to memory care, all of the care centers from Tijuana up to San Marcos Vista. Dan covers the North County area, and I cover down in San Diego. So typically we team up with their families and help them out because they're the ones that are on the trust or inheriting the property, and they're the ones that are making the final decisions. So we walk those homes with not only the homeowners that have been living in the house, but their family as well, so everybody's on board with the program.
And that typically, I mean, Dan, that's probably more of a scenario where, I mean, nothing really has been updated over time. You know, I mean, it's one of those things, you've owned your home for 50 years, 30 years, whatever the case may be. You're just not doing those upgrades. You're happy. You're happy the way it is, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's typically the case. And like you said, they've been there probably 30, 40 years. House is paid off. And, to be quite honest, they wouldn't really know what to do to the home to get it, quote unquote, modernized and updated to appeal to the newer buyers today.
Yeah. So when you guys put your money up, right? I mean, obviously, you got, let's face it, you got to protect your own cash, right? Yeah. That's important. I mean, even with my own buddy, if I'm doling out some cash to help him fix his house, I have to be protected. So what do you guys do to, protect your cash, Blake?
Basically, it's a real simple process. We just record a deed of trust on the property for whatever the value of the construction is. It's a simple 2-page document that we get notarized. Everybody that's on title, signs off and agrees to it. And then with the addendum for if they are going to use us as the listing agent after the project's completed, we just have a simple addendum stating, basically about the program, what we are putting into the property, and then what the plan will be on the backside once the property's back on the market.
Okay.
So it's just 3 pieces of paper.
Yeah, so it's like, essentially, the homeowner's going to a bank and getting a line of credit.
That's exactly what it is.
That's paying for it. And you don't have to go out and qualify for it.
Exactly.
And because a lot of people can't. I mean, let's face it. If you want to do this on your own, like some of the other renovation people out there, you got to cough up the cash. You got to come up with the cash. And not only are you coming up with the cash, but you're coming up with an added cost of that for them helping you out. And you're paying for that right up front. That's why this renovation program is so cool. It's the 30-30-30 renovation plan. We're with Dan Cassidy and Blake Marchand with RE/MAX Pacific right here in San Diego. And if you want more information on this, I'm going to give you Blake's cell phone number. It's 619-890-4588, 619-890-4588. It may not be a program for you, but it could potentially be a program for your parents, your grandparents, or somebody that that might just be getting to that age where they might be moving out to a different place. Maybe it's an assisted living facility. Maybe it's in with their family or something like that. So this program can really come in place, and it could just be for the way, if you're a homeowner that you just haven't had the money to upgrade your house. I mean, let's face it. And I'll go to you guys on this. I mean, home buyers today. What are home buyers looking for, Dan? I mean, when they're out there looking for a house, what are they looking for?
Well, they're looking for, the hardwood floors, the granite countertops, the stainless steel appliances, everything that comes with it, kind of turnkey, if you would, so that they don't really have to do anything to the house.
Yeah.
They don't have to put any of their money into it after they've already gotten X amount of loan and how much down and everything else.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have a question for you, and this is totally off key, and I'm catching you with a side cross here. But have you guys ever worked with a buyer that sees a house that says, hey, this is a great house, but gosh, I wish it were upgraded? I mean, could there be a potential to go to that homeowner and say, hey, Blake, I don't know. Is that something? Have you guys thought about that, or is that something that could potentially be in the books down the road?
Yeah, well, I mean, right now, with the way the market is and pricing has gone up tremendously, you're seeing a lot of the equity sellers come back. So we are going into properties with buyers, and they're seeing dated homes where the homeowner feels that they can get, market value, but it's because the flipped home down the street sold for that, and they think that their home is worth that same value,
right,
where then it just sits on the market for 30, 60, 90 days. So yeah, I think that's a great program. If the seller is open to it and our buyers want us to go in there, we'd be more than happy to do that program for them.
I mean, I just think, because from a buyer's perspective, what are the programs out there? You have the FHA, the 203K program that you could renovate, but people don't even know where to go, where to start with that. And you can't do everything that you want. And this, I just think it could be a potential. So, if you're a buyer listening, these guys can help you out and find a home, and they may even have a home that they're redoing in process right now for you. Blake Marchand, Dan Cassidy, Remax Pacific, 619-890-4588. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about the 30-30-30 renovation plan. It's now rolling off my tongue the way it should be, the 30-30-30 renovation plan. It's your lunch hour, Mr. Credit, 1700 ESPN.
If you would like free advice from Mr. Credit, just call or text 619-786-7853. That's 619-786-7853.
Welcome back to the Lunch Hour with Mr. Credit. And today it's Macro Monday on ESPN Radio 1700.
Welcome back. It is your Monday on the Mr. Credit Show. It's John Jerobes, JJ in the hot seat. AskJJNow.com. If you have any questions for our guests today, Blake Marchand and Dan Cassidy, feel free to reach out to me. I will put you in touch with these guys, get you set up with the 30-30-30 renovation plan if that suits your needs. And we're going to continue talking about it here. So what we've been talking about basically is, let's say your house is a little dated. You want to sell it. You want to put it on the market, or maybe it's on the market already and it's just not moving because it needs a little love, and you don't have the money to put the love into the house. These guys will come in. Not only will they front the money, but they'll help you get your house sold. And the 30-30-30, 30 days, 30 grand average money back, and about a 30-day list time. And that's where the name comes from. Blake Marchand, Dan Cassidy, Remax Pacific, in the studio today. So guys, I've got a question for you. You start the project, and Dan, I'll go to you on this one. Start the project, and you say, hey, homeowner, it's going to take about 20 grand to get it where we want it to go, and we record a deed on their property for the 20 grand. It's your money. It's not the homeowner's money. I want to make that very clear. It's not the homeowner that's putting up the cash for this improvement, and the project goes over budget by $700. It happens, right? I've been in construction sort of projects, and it's pretty easy to just overrun on something. What do you do in that sort of situation?
Well, so, and that's a good point. That has happened very recently. And, the 20,000 deed of trust is there. It stays there. We're not going to ding the homeowner for that difference. That's not their fault that it went over budget. And that's a number that we came up with along with our contractor to put into the home. So we stick with that number.
Okay.
And same with, if it goes under budget, then they would get a credit back. So it kind of works to their advantage either way, I guess.
So, you can say, hey, homeowner, we're going to do 30 grand in work, and you guys overbid it a little bit. And you just, it's like, well, we came in at 27 grand. You guys aren't going to just keep that?
No.
Well, that's amazing.
They get a copy of the contractor's invoice, so they see everything is being done.
That is amazing. You guys are doing great work out there. And this can help a lot of people in the marketplace right now. Think about it. If you are thinking about selling your house, and maybe you've interviewed somebody, and they're like, you know what, to get top dollar for your house, you need to do this, do that, paint here, change this, fix this, replace that, redo the kitchen, and you're like, well, none of that's happening because I don't have the cash for it. These are the guys that you need to go to. I'm going to give you Blake's cell phone number directly. It's 619-890-4588. And why would, at the end of the day, why would a homeowner decide to go this route? Is it just to try to pocket more cash, Blake?
If they don't go with this program, they're going to, and their home's dated, they're probably going to get 10 to 20 investor lowball offers they're not going to be happy with. Everybody's working on the same budget, same timelines. So, when those offers come in, they're all going to be within a couple thousand from each other. the listing agent is not going to be able to get them to come up any higher because they can't afford to pay any higher with the market. So if they don't want to have their home sit on the market for 30 and 60 days before they decide to do this plan, they just come to us first. We could get it done in 30 days, back on the market. The last client we did, it sold in 4 days. So it was 30 days construction, 4 days on the market, and a 24 or 25-day escrow.
Wow.
So they were out, under 70 days and got the benefit of the whole program.
And
so,
was this the house in Escondido that you did?
Yep, this
yeah.
was.
So let's hear this out. Okay, so 30-day renovation, 4 days on the market. Okay, there are homes sitting on the market right now for 60, 90 days out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not making it up. We've all seen them, right? You see the price reductions because you just they're not selling. Home on the market for 4 days, 25-day escrow, so in and out in 60 days with a $24,000 extra sort of net price to the seller.
21.5 to be exact.
21.5.
Yep.
That's amazing. Congratulations, guys, because that's really what you're after, is putting more money in the pocket. And we talked about at the beginning of the show, we talked about stimulating the economy, people buying. You don't need to stimulate the economy by buying stuff on your credit card. You stimulate the economy by putting more cash in your pocket by doing the right thing up front when you go to sell your home. And this is the program for it. I'm pretty excited about this program, and I know there are people out there that can take advantage of it. I know there are. I mean, are you guys limited by how many projects you got going on at one time? I mean, is there a limitation? I mean, you guys are fronting your own money here, so
No.
I mean, 10 projects, 100 projects.
As many as we can get our hands on. We just want to help homeowners out there, get them the most they can, and then get them into another property if that's what their goal is.
Yeah, and I mean, is that what you're saying? I mean, barring the seniors kind of moving from the house into maybe an assisted campus or something like that.
Yep.
I mean, are you seeing the move up market, Dan, right now? I mean, are people looking to take advantage of getting out, kind of netting as much from a sale and buying up?
That's exactly what we're seeing right now. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Families growing, just like early 2000s.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good thing. And right now is the time. I mean, don't get scared. I mean, I know people are reading articles out there, Blake. Housing is, inventory, housing bubbles, which, I mean, just, what does your forecast look like, kind of moving through this year? I mean, here we're already, halfway through August, which is amazing. But what do you see kind of moving out through the end of the year?
I think the prices are going to stay pretty stable. I don't see them going up any further anytime soon. I just closed escrow on primary residence 2 weeks ago, so I'm still very confident in the market. I feel it's a great time to sell. The inventory is still on the lower end. Like you said, you are seeing home prices or homes sit on the market for 30, 60, 90 days now if they're not priced right. So another thing we do with the program is we don't push the limits on the comps. We try to still have the value when it's going back on the market, just a tad under market value. That way we can get the client multiple offers, and then they can choose, not only about price, but they can choose about the strength of the offer. You are seeing families that are writing letters to agents saying, hey, we just want to break into the neighborhood. We're having a baby. This house is everything we need. So it's just, something like that. And we just want to make sure the home does sell in under 30 days for the client.
Yeah, that's amazing. And this is probably a big thing because, I mean, you have the 1,000 square foot place, you got the 5,000 square foot place. Is there any limitation to size of home, Dan? I mean,
No, not really. As long as it makes sense, it doesn't matter whether it's 1,000 square feet or 10,000 square feet.
yeah,
Obviously, the numbers change, but that's about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's important to know because, I mean, there are homes. I mean, there's areas here in San Diego. I mean, you go to Rancho Santa Fe, for instance, and there's homes out there that haven't been touched in a long time. And it's not because people don't have the money for it, but they just don't care. They're happy in their home.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing. It's not, remember that, it's not that there's something wrong with your house if you decide to do this program. It's just that what you have in your home may not be what people are looking for when they're out and about looking for a home to purchase, right? I mean, Blake, that's at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're talking about here, right?
Sellers want the most for their home and buyers want the best deal for the home. So our goal, backing the seller is, hey, if you want to sell it as is, you're most likely not going to get the most out of your home.
Yeah.
But if you want to do it with the program, we're going to get you top dollar.
Yeah.
And that's the goal. And it doesn't cost them anything, and they're getting the benefits on the back end.
Yeah.
So.
And people, what you have to, if you are looking to sell your house, I mean, what you have to remember is, people that are looking to buy out there, and they may have money for a down payment, they may have money for closing costs, but they may not have the extra money to fix something up. And your house might be perfect for them, but they can't do it, or they don't want to do it because they don't want a project. And think of that. People are busier. People have kids. People are both, everybody in the household's working. They don't have the time or energy or maybe the means to fix it up. Let these guys fix up your house to get top dollar for it. Blake Marchand, Dan Cassidy, Remax Pacific, 619-890-4588. It's the 30-30-30 renovation plan. And it's time for you to take a look at this if you think you need it. Guys, the time goes by fast on the show. I appreciate you both taking the time to come on here. I know people are going to take advantage of this. I know it. There's a lot of people out there that can. And I hope you guys had a great time. Thank you for coming on, Dan.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
It's your lunch hour. It's JJ, John Giroux, Synergy One Lending. Until next time, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly, askjjnow.com, and I'll put you in touch with Blake and Dan as well. Thank you.
If you would like to contact Mr. Credit or access any free offers mentioned on the show, just go to mrcredit.org. That's mrcredit.org.